everyone, welcome back to my channel, True Crime with Jess Rose. Hope you're all okay out there. Just waiting for a few people to join us, but we are doing the Rachel O'Reilly case this evening. It has been one that's been requested, so I'm glad you're joining. If you are watching tomorrow, if you see me talking throughout the live, I do try not to. I do try to continue with the story and then maybe comment at the end with people who are taking, obviously, here for the live. But yeah, I might try and how's that look? Oh, that looks good. Hi. I'm just messing with my my filter. Hold on. I'm just gonna say hi. Is that any good? Hi. I'm messing about with my filter at the minute because I didn't like it. How's that? Does that look good? Is that too much? Is that too much on the filter? I think that looks okay. Does it look, is it bordering black and white? Is that okay? Yay. Hi Phil, how you doing? Tiff, Hayley, how you all doing tonight? Look at you all on time and everything. You're so good. You really are. Okay, couple of requests from you this evening. Can you like the video? Because apparently on YouTube, likes mean everything as well. It's not just about views and subscribers. Now it's about likes as well. See, so I'm going to do my jingle at the end, if you don't. But yeah, if you could just like the video. I don't know if it can happen during the live, but if you could possibly go in afterwards and just like it, I'd really appreciate it. And anyone watching tomorrow, if you could like as well, if you stick around to the end, you get to see my jingle. You get to see it. Okay. This story has been, Tiffany, can you do me a really big favour? I'll let you get shouted at. Can you ring Mum and tell her that this is the one she requested? Or, well, yeah, she did request. Well, she told me to have a look into it. So she might want to watch it. It's Rachel O'Reilly. Oh, okay. I don't think that classes as it doesn't class as a like though, Tiff, because when I go on, there's no likes there. So I don't think it counts anything that happens during the live, like the comments aren't there. Nothing you say, there's nothing on there the next day. So, yeah, but if you could give Mum a ring, I'd appreciate it. Just to, or message out or something, just to say if she fancies watching. But, and joining me, you, Phil and Hayley, and who else is here? Who else? Say hi if you're here. But yeah, we're going to start in a second. Are we 8 o'clock yet? I hope you've all had a good day. Thank you, Tiff. All good here, Phil. Hope you're good. Or is that Tiffany? Tiffany, are you commenting to my commenters? Is that what's going on? Am I getting overridden? Okay. I think it's got to be 8 o'clock now because it was coming up to that when I started. So we're going to start. And like I say, this is the Rachel O'Reilly story. Now, where I got this from was Ireland's Most Shocking Crimes. Now, we've got, is it Britain's Most Shocking Crimes or the world's Most Shocking Crimes? Well, this is Ireland. And there's a couple of cases that I've been looking at. Since Anna Kriegel, which I did do quite a while ago, it's in my list of videos that I've done. Since the Anna Kriegel case, I haven't looked at any of the ones from Ireland. And, there's some, there's some over there, I'll tell you. So we're going to, thanks sis. So we're going to look at the second one I've done from Ireland. Southern Ireland, should I say, because there was another one I've done in Northern Ireland. Oh goodness, I can't think of the name off the top of my head now. But it is in my list of stories as well. Fleming. Her surname was Fleming. But this is the Rachel O'Reilly story. Now, So let's get started. So Rachel O'Reilly, not a lot on her early years. Having trouble with early years, some of these stories, to be honest, which I do like to give you. I know she was born in 1974. We know she was adopted. Her adopted mom, who does appear on this show that I've watched today, and obviously I've gone away and looked at other sources and stuff as well. Her name's Rose Kalali. I know I've butchered that name, but yeah, Rose Kalali. And she adopted Rachel and her siblings. And they were very close family, all being brought up in Dublin. Rachel, apparently she was a live wire, really good heart, enjoyed every extracurricular activity that she could, very good at softball. I'm assuming a bit like rounders. Is that like rounders? Baseball, that type of thing. But yeah, she was a really good girl. Very pretty. You can see her online. Very tall as well, 5'11". So that's all I could really find out about Rachel pre what I'm about to tell you. Just the impression I've got of her though from the people that have spoken about her and what I've found, just a really, really sweet girl. Just a really, really, really sweet girl. Now, Rachel ended up meeting a lad called Joe O'Reilly. Oh, I'm calling her Rachel O'Reilly. I've done it again. O'Reilly's obviously her married name. So it would have been before that Kalali. I'll spell it, it'll be in the tags. But obviously that was her adoptive family's name. When she met Joe O'Reilly, they hit it off straight away. She met him when she was 17. He was 19. So 2 years between them. And they actually met at work. And Joe was, flirting with Rachel, and she didn't want to know. She weren't really that interested in him. But what attracted him to her is he was 6'5", big guy. And because she was quite tall herself, it just attracted him to her. So he found out she played softball. So he joined the team. He actually joined the team to, to get close to her. So eventually she let him in, and she was like, okay, let's see how this goes. And they just were inseparable from then on. They got married. They had 2 sons, Luke and Adam. And for everyone on the outside, they looked like couple goals. They looked like they were doing really, really well. But Rachel, because she didn't want to bring her boys up in Dublin city itself, she wanted to move them a little bit further out, into the country, where it'd just be, nice to bring up the boys there. So she moved to a place called Naul, which is Naul. I've heard it pronounced Naul. I hadn't heard of it, I'll be honest, but it's about 20 minutes without traffic outside of Dublin. And it's just quite a rural town, really, but just perfect to bring your kids up in. Close enough for schools and doctors and shops and everything else to the city, but just able to come away. No, she married Joe O'Reilly, sis. So her married name's O'Reilly. So that once they'd moved to Naul, Rose, obviously Rachel's mom, she was a bit concerned, because now let me tell you a little bit about Joe. Joe was very, what's the word I'm looking for? He was very, he was very ambitious. Sorry, that was the word I was looking for. he wanted to. His idyllic life was wife, kids, and a fantastic career. That was his goals. And from the outside, it seemed like that's where they were. He'd got a job at Viacom, so he was in advertising, and Viacom was in Dublin, so only about a 20-minute journey from where they were. And he was doing very, very well, really well. Hi, Kelly. Really, really well. And the only problem is between going to the gym, spending morning till night at work, because of his ambition, he wasn't at home a lot. So it was starting to cause, this is 13 years into their relationship. Rachel's now 30, he's now 32. It's causing problems because he's getting up at 5:30 to go to the gym, going to work, not coming back till very late. And yeah, it's starting to cause problems. But for the most part, they were still appeared quite happy to everyone. And because the kids were quite young, if you've got children, you'll know that it puts a lot of pressure on a relationship, especially when the kids are young, because they demand so much time, especially of mom. The relationship tends to get put on the back burner for a little while. And I think people were just hoping they'd get through that, that phase of their relationship, really, because for the most part, they got on really well. Okay, so we come to the 4th of October, 2004. Now, Joe receives a call at work, and it's just basically from the creche. Rachel was supposed to have picked up their son Adam from the creche at 12:30. And the creche was saying, she's not here, she hasn't picked up. Very unlike Rachel. She doted on these boys, so she was there on time. They were very well presented, everything was about the boys. So it was a bit of a shock. So you do hear the voicemails, and it's Joe phoning Rachel going, where are you? What's going on? Why haven't you picked up Adam, sorry. Why haven't you picked him up? The other little fella, Luke, was in school. So when he can't, my God, when he couldn't get in touch with Rachel after the 3rd voicemail, he phoned Rose, obviously Rachel's mom, and says, you know what, I can't get in touch with her. I am going to come back, but head round to the house and let me know what's going on, because she hasn't picked the baby up. Take that back, she hasn't picked Adam up. Real brummy there. She hasn't picked him up. So Rose goes round to their family home. Like I say, Dublin's only about 20 minutes away. So she heads round. And when she walks into the house at first, so she went into the bathroom, she went into the boys' room. Everything looked like how it should be. And then she walked into the bedroom. And on the floor was Rachel. And Rose actually said that she knew before she even bent down to see what was going on with Rachel. She knew she was dead. She just knew. And there was so much blood around Rachel's head that she couldn't tell if she was lying to the side or she was face down. That's how bad it was. And she just didn't know what to do. She's just found her daughter. She's just found her, not, peacefully passed away. She's found her, and it's quite obvious that it's not good. It's quite obvious that someone has hurt her daughter. So she phones the police, she phones the ambulance, she phones Joe, and she's just saying, you know, you need to get back here. You know, just get home. She didn't tell him. She just said get home. So when Joe comes back, of course he comes back, and there's police everywhere, and the ambulance is there, and he sees Rose outside, and of course she runs up to Joe, and apparently when he got out of his car, he's quite like, what's going on? Because he doesn't, he's like, what's happening here? Why are the police outside my house? And why hasn't my wife gone to collect my son? Rose goes up to him and says, Rachel's in there, and I think she's being murdered. I think someone's killed her. And it was a shock, not only to her mum, not only to him, not only to the police that were there, because it was such a small town. It just didn't happen there. Like I say, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's everyone knows everyone. It's a very nice place to live. So everyone, including the Garda, which is the Irish equivalent of the police, they were gobsmacked. They were like, what is going on? She was only 30 years old. Like I say, young boys. Who would do this? So the police, as Joe finds out about it, he runs into the house. Obviously, they couldn't stop him. He got through. He breaks down. He's like, oh my God. But Rose did notice he didn't bend down to Rachel, but he was openly, you know, very upset. So Rose was looking at him, but the police weren't, the Garda weren't. You know, it looked like, because when they started looking around the house, things were out of place. It was all a bit dishevelled within the house. So they're thinking, this is a home invasion gone wrong. Has she, what do they call it when you catch, you know, if you walk in on a burglar, you know, was it something like that had happened? So it's just, the whole town's devastated. Like, I don't know, excuse me, sorry, I don't normally do this, but otherwise I'm going to be coughing for the whole. So everyone's at a loss. What has happened to this young mum? She's been obviously brutally murdered in her own home in the middle of the day before she's due to go and collect a son from nursery. What is going on? Now, Joe comes out of the house. Kelly has mentioned something there. If this is what you're getting at here, he comes out and he says, oh, I just moved like a box out the way. I hope I haven't disturbed the crime scene. This is Joe. And the guard are like, what is he saying? What is that in his mind? But they move on. They don't think anything more of it. In fact, no one looks at Joe, and I'll tell you why. Joe, from the very beginning, had a cast iron alibi. Cast iron. He had not only witnesses to where he was, people had seen him at work, they'd seen him at the gym. He had an alibi. So the police, I'm so sorry about this. If you're watching now, I can explain. Tiffany, can you hear Mitzi? Come here and I'll introduce Mitzi. And if you're watching tomorrow, you can see as well. I'm so sorry about interrupting the video at this point. Come here and introduce yourself. This is the person who's, come here. This is the person who's whining at the minute because she wants to go out. There she is. She wants to go out and she's whining. So can you bear with me 1 second? Otherwise, I'm not going to get to finish this. Oh, bear with me. Bear with me. Talk amongst yourselves. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Right, I'm back, but I'm not really back because she's going to bark in a second to be let back in. So I'm fuming because I can explain to you, but tomorrow, if someone's watching it afterwards, they're going to be like, what is going on? Okay, well, she got a dog there. She's going to bark in a second. I'm going to carry on, but I know, just wait for her. Just wait for her to bark. Wait for it. Okay, so I lost myself. This is why I hate getting disturbed. Okay, I'm going to calm myself down. We're going to carry on. Okay, so he's disturbed the crime scene, but cast iron alibi. That's where I am. And he did. He did. So this was Joe's alibi. So this is why no one looked at Joe, and so they were looking out, outside. Because as we know, in these cases, the police always start looking from the inside out. Kelly, it's a nightmare. Absolute nightmare. Hayley, yes, we are, because yes, we just listen to our animals. It's terrible. But yes, we know they start from the inside out. So, of course, the first people they're going to look at, I don't know if they ever looked at her mom, but they certainly were looking at Joe. So, Joe, his alibi was, she's starting on one second. One second. Oh, come on. That's it now. You can't do this, Mitzi. No more now. You stay there. Right, I'm back. And that'll be it now. I promise. Okay. Whew. Okay. Forget. The worst thing is, if I was pre-recording this, I'd have just stopped it. But what can I do now? I just have to carry on. Okay. So, this was Joe's day. 5:10 in the morning, he got up and he left to go to the gym. Okay. He met his friend at Viacom headquarters, and he met his friend about, about 7:45 in the morning. He'd made a couple of calls at work. Then him and his friend, the friend is called Derek. This is his alibi. They left, but in separate cars, but they left to go to a depot, like a Viacom depot. It was about half an hour away. They did leave in separate cars, but Derek was a little bit late. He left just after Joe. Joe was like phoning me ready to go, and Derek wasn't quite ready. So Joe left before him. But when Joe got to the depot, when Derek got to the depot, he phoned Joe, and he was like, right, yeah. And Joe says, I'm just down in the yard. Now, at the point where Derek was being asked to verify these details, he didn't know what had happened to Rachel. So he didn't actually say, well, although he said he was at the yard, I didn't actually see him at the yard. He said he was at the end of the yard. It was a big building, big yard, and when Derek got there, because he'd left after Joe, where are you, Joe? Joe's like, oh, I'm just down the end of the yard. I'll come up and see you in a second. So he just assumed he's in the vicinity. And sure enough, they did meet back up. What time did they met back up, and they headed back to the office for 12 p.m. And that was the alibi. That was it. So he was actually back in the office before the creche called to say she hadn't picked up the kids, the little boy, Adam. So God, they are fine. They're like, okay, that alibi checks out, especially with Derek backing it up. Okay. So they start looking, but what they're questioning as well, and you will question too, because we all watch these stories. If it was a home invasion, why was there €1,200 left in two separate places in the house? 400 left in her purse, and the other 800 just left in a cupboard. How did that happen if it's a home invasion? So anyway, they they're still looking, but after a couple of days, they say to Joe, right, you can go on back to the house now. So Joe goes back to the house. And he looks around because the police want him to tell them what's missing, if anything. Do you want to know what he said was missing? Which is when, again, people are kind of like, what? Two towels were missing. Now, I'm not saying anything about men. We have Phil here with us this evening. But Phil, would you notice if 2 towels were missing from your house? It just doesn't seem like, I don't know if I'd notice if 2 towels were missing from my house. I'm sure I would, because I do the washing. I'm the one who puts it all away. So I'm sure eventually I would think, oh, where's that towel? But it was the first thing he said. These 2 towels are missing. It was just very odd. Again, though, he had this watertight alibi. So, they're like, okay. So then he phones his mother-in-law, Rose, and the father-in-law. Haven't got his name. I don't know whether he just didn't want his name spoken about, but I haven't seen it out there. He phones them and he says, do you want to come round? Do you want to come and have a look? It might make you feel better, you know, if you can see it clear, and obviously it might just help with the situation. So Rose comes round with Rachel's dad. He brings them into the bedroom where Rachel was found, and he starts going, this is what I think happened, and he starts doing a reconstruction. It's only been a couple of days since Rose has found her daughter. I haven't even told you the details yet of what actually was done to Rachel, but it's been a couple of days. So he thinks it's perfectly appropriate to do his own reconstruction of what he believes was done to Rachel. And he starts raising his hand and he starts standing up, and he's like, I think they possibly left the room and heard she was still alive and they come back. And Rose is just there, just gobsmacked at what's going on in front of her. Like, why is this man the mother of his children has just been found brutally murdered? He's coming up with a reconstruction for this. She actually says there and then she 100% believed it was John. From that, she hadn't, from what I can gather, she hadn't believed it up until that point. She didn't want to believe it, I would have thought. Plus, don't forget his alibi. So everyone's like, what is going on? It never would happen in that area. It was a brutal attack. Nothing was really stolen. But the main suspect has this alibi. They're at a loss. They don't know what's going on. So, no, Joe doesn't stop there, though. He starts inviting friends round. Would you like to come and see where it happened? Come on, come and have a look. And starts doing reconstructions for her friends and his friends, people that know them. Look, what? Why? And if you don't know, what are you doing? So, I think we're all getting there, aren't we? So the police now just they've done a look around, let's say. They've done a couple of looking at CCTV and a couple, but to be honest, they're like, it's this fella. It has to be. There's something going on. There's something not right. So they get hold of his phone. Why do they always do it? Why do they always do it? He had his phone on him, people, on the morning of the 4th of October 2004. Okay, so Joe did leave. He did. He did leave at about 5:30 in the morning. He was up at 5:10. He left about 5:30. Yes, he did. You see, the thing with Joe was the police, when they brought him in to talk to him and they were asking about his marriage, they also asked, is there anyone else involved with either Rachel or yourself? And he denied it the first 2 times they asked. But the 3rd time they asked, he was like, okay, you got me. I was seeing a girl. Here we go. I was seeing a girl who I worked with. I met her at work. I met her on a night out. Exactly how he'd met Rachel. And, you know, we'd gone out a couple of times, but, you know, it didn't come to anything. And, you know, it was just one of them things. So, of course, the police asked for her name. Her name was Nikki Pele. She was 34. And she played it down too. They both played it down that it was really nothing. And, you know, it wasn't a big thing and it had fizzled out. You know, the usual. Yes, like Chris Watts. Girl always goes along with it as well, doesn't she? So, like I say, he'd met her at work, said it was nothing, says no. Turns out it wasn't nothing. And when he'd been, do you remember I said he'd been spending a lot of time working away from home because he was so ambitious and he just wanted to get these promotions and, you know, he just wanted to do well for his wife and his kids. No. 2 nights a week when he was saying, I think one of them he was playing softball. How ironic. And the other time he was working over, so he was spending the night at the office. He only lived 20 minutes away. Remember that? He was actually stopping with Nikki. And night started. It wasn't a fizzle day. It wasn't something, you know, light-hearted and didn't really mean anything. This was a full-blown relationship. Full-blown. So he admitted, so they started looking into this and that's what was found out. This wasn't, you know, just a thing in the night, you know, a one-night stand or anything. This was a full-blown relationship. Then once they'd got a hold of Joe's phone, they and his computer equipment, they started to find emails. The emails, funny enough, weren't to Nikki. That's not what they found. What they actually found were emails to his sister. And in these emails, he was saying the most rotten things you would say about anyone, let alone the mother of your children, let alone your wife. He was calling her for everything. And basically, his point in these emails was she wasn't a good mom. He was setting the scene, people. He was setting it all. And the sister, that's his sister, you know, they were very close, believed her brother. So, of course, her replies to these weren't, stop what you're doing and go and fix things with your wife. It was, well, you know, if you got to leave her, you know, if she's been that rotten. And she believed her brother. So she wasn't encouraging it, but she wasn't exactly discouraging it either. So we're setting the scene, aren't we? So now Joe had decided, I want to leave. I am going to leave her, but I want my boys. And the worst thing about this is it's very much like we find in these stories that they don't have much to do with their kids, because it was proven that she was the main person in the boys' lives. Even though he lived there, he was always out. But he saw himself as being this amazing father and couldn't be without his boys. So that was his issue. He was like, how can I leave her for Nikki? She's not going to give me the boys. So When they checked his phone, now do you remember me saying he went to the gym? He did. He met his friend at work. He did. When he'd phoned Derek to say, are you ready to go to, you remember it was the depot, and Derek wasn't ready to go yet, Joe didn't go to the depot. So when Derek rang him and says, where are you? When Derek's obviously turned up to this depot and Joe's gone, oh, I'm down the yard. I'll be up in a minute. No, he wasn't. And you know how they found this out? Because he was on the phone to Nikki. Twice. And it pinged off a quarry right by his house. Some area he'd swore he hadn't been during that morning. And of course, Derek, because he spoke to him on the phone and he says he was at the yard, he had no reason to question it, gave him that, oh, boy, he was like, he was at the yard, he was where I was. I just didn't see him there. But why would I question it? And yes, it was him being on the phone to Nikki, having a great little conversation, that pinged up, like I say, it was called Murphy's Quarry, right by their house. Plus, there was CCTV footage. He had a very distinctive car for the area, so it didn't take much from the CCTV footage to be like, there he is. Now, considering he kept saying, no, I was over half an hour away. I was nowhere near home. Why would his car be seen on CCTV? So what they'd see on this CCTV, they see Joe's car at around 9 o'clock in the morning. His phone pings off at Murphy's Quarry. The it's not, what is it? The signal, like the signal, pings off, which is literally a couple of minutes from his house, while he's on the phone to Nikki. You see, like I say, Rachel driving to the creche, to the nursery to drop Adam off. Then you see her driving back about 9:34 a.m. on the 4th of October, 2004, don't forget. And it's believed she was murdered not long after that. And basically what this man, and I say that very loosely, I'll say that term, he thought he'd done the perfect murder, committed the perfect murder. He went to the house, and he actually battered her with between 6 and 9 times with a dumbbell around the head. So he fractured a skull, basically broke a skull twice. There was also injuries to her shoulders. It was all around the top. But one thing he'd said in his reconstructions to his mother-in-law was that, I believe that the person who did it possibly hit her, went into the bathroom, heard her gurgling, and then went back and carried on beating her. So to me, that's what happened. He'd beaten her with a dumbbell, like a full-size dumbbell around the head. And when he went to clean himself up in the bathroom, he heard her gurgling and he went back in and finished the job. But if any of you have remembered the very beginning of this story, he obviously went back to work, didn't he? Then he done the voicemails to her when the crash had phoned. And then what did he do? He phoned her mum to tell her, can you just pop round and see if Rachel's okay? Knowing full well what she was going to walk into, knowing full well what she was going to find. I mean, the levels these men that commit these crimes, all for the sake of, you know, the love of their life elsewhere. It's just it's just heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to think of it. It's heartbreaking to know that the minute she walked in, even before she bent down to look at Rachel, she knew she was dead. You know, imagine being her mum and finding out afterwards that he'd known and he'd sent her into that house knowing what she was about to find. Now, he really tried to play this part off, because he actually appeared. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen Faking It Tears of a Crime. It's a programme that we have here in the UK, where it shows evil people caught on camera crying and like, oh my God, I don't know. And it turns out that they are the perpetrator. Well, Joe goes on The Late Late Show. It's an Irish kind of talk show with Rose to obviously talk about what had happened to his wife, because it took a long time to get all the evidence they needed to prosecute and charge Joe. So in that meantime, he was doing a whole publicity arena. He was going on the news and he was calling reporters and journalists to come and talk to him, and then he goes on the Late Show and he's like, my wife, and you can see it online. You can actually see the interview. There's only about a 2-minute clip of it, and you see her mum sat beside him, and she was asked at a later appearance, did you know when you were sat beside him on the Late Show that he'd done it? And she says, yeah. She said she knew. She knew she was sat next to her daughter's murderer on that show. She just couldn't prove it. And she said she knew from a couple of days after she'd found her daughter. And it was obviously his behaviours, telling the police that 2 towels were missing, offering to do a reconstruction, you know. But I think it was even before the reconstruction, she knew it was him. And Mum they just know. And she had to sit on TV and listen to this Irish word here, AG, talking about her daughter. And, you know, I don't know who do this, and, you know, if anyone's out there that can help. And she's press tour. That's what I was thinking of, Kelly, thank you. And having to sit next to him, knowing that it's him. But I'll be honest, if you have a look on YouTube, and it's only about a 2-minute clip, putting The Late Late Show and then Rachel O'Reilly, you wouldn't believe it either. It's just so cold. It's just so matter of fact, but very similar to Chris Watts and what was it, Peterson, Scott Peterson. You know, always wanting to be in front of the camera and like how, but there's always a question mark over them, isn't there? There's always something where you're like, hang on a minute, that's not right. And 9 times out of 10, it does turn out to be them. Well, it did turn out to be Joe, as we know. All for the love of Nikki. What was her last name now? God, I don't even want to talk about her. Nikki Pele. I shouldn't say that. And I always look at these other women, but the fact is, she knew he was married. She knew he had kids. I'm not saying she knew what he'd done. I'm not saying that at all. But I just haven't got time for that. I just haven't got anything good to say. So I won't say anything at all about her. But yes, once it had all come out, they eventually charged him, Joe, in November 2006. So it took a while to get everything together. So charged him in November 2006. The trial started in June of 2007. And he was actually sentenced to life. And that's it. I haven't heard with a minimum of 15 years. I haven't heard minimum of 20 years. I've just heard life because of the brutality of the attack of the mother of his children. I think that's what, and the lies and the press tour and letting his mother-in-law go in and find her. There were so many aggravating circumstances around this murder. It was life. And I'm very happy about that. Now he did do 15 years in Dublin's Wheatfield prison, but in 2022 he was actually transferred to Portlaoise prison. Very rough prison. Good enough for him, eh? He has tried to appeal. You know, he's still saying it wasn't him and he didn't do it and nah. But yeah, it was him. And I just find it laughable that it was the calls to his mistress that actually done him in. I just find that such poetic justice, if that's the right word, that how it was found out that he was actually on the phone to his mistress at that Murphy's quarry that had pinged off, that proved that he wasn't where he said he was. And I just thought, I felt sorry for his friend Derek, because he'd obviously given that alibi in all good conscience. He didn't know. At that time, he didn't even know what had happened to Rachel when he gave that. And if his friend's saying, yeah, I'm down in the yard, why would you question that? So I did feel for him. Obviously, my heart goes out to Rachel's mum, and her entire family, actually. She had, I believe, there was 3 brothers, 3 sisters, I think. You know, so definitely a heart goes out to all of them. But as it stands, this man won't be seeing the light of day. If I do hear he has, obviously I'll update the story. But as it stands, no, he's now in a prison in Portlaoise prison. And it's not a good prison. I've even heard of Portlaoise prison. Our dad's family's from down there, and no, it's not a good prison. So, good end for him. Obviously, not a good end to the story. They never are. And yeah, that was the heartbreaking Rachel O'Reilly story. Obviously requested by my mum. And I don't think she's watched. But I wanted to do it anyway. It was just such a sad story, and one that goes back to 2004. I just hadn't heard of it, and there are a couple of stories from Ireland that have really caught my eye this week. There's also one called the Scissor Sisters. That's what they were called. I'll perhaps do that one next week. Bit of a bit different to this one, I will say that. But yeah, that was the heartbreaking Rachel O'Reilly story. And once again, I just want to thank you all for joining me and putting up with me, putting my dog out, and yabbering and losing my words. But I feel like I'm getting a little bit better. I'm not erring as much, or maybe I am. I don't know. I got into it then, so I don't know if I did. But yeah. Thank you again for joining me. How are you all out there? What have you all been chatting about anyway? Because I won't get to see this again. Let's have a look. That's not a man in my view. He's not a man, Phil. He wasn't a man. I know. And what he did to the mum, it's like OJ. It is like OJ Simpson. Very like the Chris Watts story as well. I thought it had that ringing about it, didn't it? It had that kind of just that edge to it, especially with him going on camera and, you know, oh my God. And they never, I find these ones that go on camera and they look like they're putting on the sad face. It's like, oh my God. You know, it just doesn't look genuine. It never does. I don't know why they do it to themselves. Apparently it's part of the narcissistic element of their personalities. They just can't. They have to be involved. They have to know what's going on. But part of me's like, what are you doing? what are you doing? And it does say that, oh, the Turpin family. Yes, yes, I haven't done that one. That's awful. Yeah, that'll be one. Actually, Kelly, that's it. Oh, I might do that one next week then. If you'd like to say that one, I'll do the Turpin family. Awful, awful, awful case that is. Thank you all so much. And yeah, if you could go in after and just possibly like the video once it's has to publish and everything else, it's all quite long-winded, but if you do see it on your thing. And I did want to ask you another question while you're on, actually, because in my on my channel it's got my other videos and then it's got my lives. When you're watching them, like, you know, obviously you subscribe to me. So when I do a live, does it come up that I've done a video, or do you have to go into something else? Because it's two separate pages for me. And I'm just thinking, I wonder, can other subscribers, let's say, can they see it? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Do you know what I mean? Is it visible after the live that in my normal stories? Does that make sense? Is anyone still there? Is it still visible? Hello? Help me. I'm confused. Because I want to obviously do the lives, but I'm thinking, should I be doing lives and a story, or can I just do these lives and the subscribers I've got can just view it as normal? Oh, okay, so you can see it. That's fine. That's fine. That's all I was wondering. I just want to make sure that, because obviously I took a long break. It was a long break, and I still haven't done the story that caused me to take that break. I still can't bring myself to do it. It's not gory. It's not it is a child. It's not anything I haven't done before. But it just did something to me. I just thought, I can't do this anymore. Oh, thank you for letting me know. Thank you for letting me know. That's great. That's great. So I know where they're going now. But yeah, I will eventually do that story. I still can't bring myself to do it yet. It just done it for me, and I just thought, I can't do these anymore. But then I really like sharing them with you, and I really like researching the stories, and I like ones where there's an end to them. I think I've said that. I like where there's a conviction and there's a sentence, and I don't like Madeleine McCann or John Benet Ramsey, those sort of cases, because they're still ongoing after all these years. I struggle ending my stories at the best of times, so to try and end something that hasn't actually reached a conclusion yet, I just wouldn't know how to do that. So that's why I haven't done those sort of stories. But yeah, maybe next week we'll do the Turpin family then, and we'll look at doing the Scissor Sisters one as well. That's from Dublin. And yeah, we'll look at doing that same time next week. We'll do the Turpin family next week though, Kelly, as you've mentioned it. And yeah, thank you all again for joining me. And you know what, you're here every week, and I really, really appreciate it. Because otherwise I'd just be talking to myself on camera, and it just wouldn't be as fun. Oh, hi, Mum. Is she here? Did you see it, or Mum, have you just joined? Have you missed the whole thing? This is. Say hi to her. Say hi to my mum, everyone. Say hi. Is she being shy? Oh. But I'm done now, Mum. I'm finished. You can watch it after though if you wanna. You have to like it. You have to press like. I did ask that at the beginning. But yeah, just thank you all again for joining me. Sorry you missed it, Mum. If you did. Thanks, Phil. Thanks again, Kelly. There's so many, Kelly. There's so many to do. But yeah, we'll do that one. And it was another suggestion from my mum. Oh, look, Mum, Phil's saying hi too. There was another suggestion that, which is the Scissor Sisters one. So we will look at doing that maybe in 2 weeks. Yeah, maybe Mum, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock next time. 8 o'clock. Because I've been on an hour. I've been here going for an hour now. Well, right, I'm going to go. Thank you again. I know, I did notice the 5th watcher. I'm hoping it's Mum, otherwise everyone said hello to somebody random. Oh, we have a 6th now. Who could that be? Mum as well? It might not even be Mum, and we're saying hello to people that aren't. Oh, who knows? Who knows? I'm hoping it's Mum. Or if it's not, whoever you are, welcome. I'm sorry, it is quite late. I did finish about 5 minutes ago. So now I'm going to do my little jingle to see us out, just to lighten everything up a little bit. So we're, okay, let's get ready. So I'm going to ask you all. Tiffany, you can't say anything because this is for tomorrow's watchers too. I'm going to ask you all to like, comment, subscribe. No, okay, I'm lifting up, so you can't say I'm all elbows this time. Like, comment, subscribe, please. No, please, like this, yeah. So, like, comment, subscribe, please. There we go. See, Tiff, it wasn't that painful. There we go. That's my jingle. Okay, I'm gonna go now. But thank you all again, and I will yeah. So Tiff, I told you I was gonna do it, and I've done it. I did it, and I was too quick for you, so it's all done now. It's all done. That was my jingle, and I will yeah. I'll see you all next week, bright and breezy at 8 o'clock. Stop saying that. All right, it's done now. It's over. I stopped. Like, comment, subscribe, please. I like this part as well, so it's going to be like, comment, subscribe, please. And then I can end like this. See, this is like Mum's end. So you can't tell Mum because this is like right. Okay, this is going to be terrible when people are watching it tomorrow. I'll say have a lovely evening, everyone. Thank you again, and I will see you all next week. Take care. All right, let's try this again. Let's go. Okay, I think I got it.